setup ticket for today. Now, the first one's going to be G Pro, right? GoPro. Now, before we even start about GoPro, right? Every single day, I keep telling you guys, hey, you want to understand the market, you want to understand the narrative, you want to understand, what actually gets the market going, right? And that's something that is very important because, if you are again, right, focusing on the wrong tickers, right, you're not going to get good results. For example, when the memes is running, but you're trading something else other than the memes, you're not going to get good results, right? Which is exactly what happened in pre-market. Okay, so on top of technical analysis, right, analyzing the market, understanding what the market is more favorable towards is very important, right? Because that is what's going to drive the move, right? The market isn't going to move everything. You guys know that, right? The market does not move everything. But what it does do is it will move certain stocks, right, of certain sectors, okay? And the ones that are not part of the sector will completely die off. And that is just how it is. All right, because volume is limited. So in pre and whenever I tell you guys in pre-market, you kind of get this pre-market is pre-market, right? Pre-market is pre-market, okay, it doesn't dictate what's gonna happen for market open, which is why even though GPro was doing very good in pre-market, market open it kind of died off. It's a very similar reminiscent to KSS yesterday, right? Where we have an insane short rally in pre-market, but absolutely did nothing for market hours. And this is something that, I've been telling you guys about since yesterday, right? I said, these plays are great, right? These meme plays are good, because there is that squeeze factor to them. But when they start to lose their spark, this is what's going to happen. Why? Because again, moves like this is not sustainable, right? It's so heavy. The stock is so heavy, right? It's pretty much, it takes a lot of momentum to keep up. And sure, 1, 2 days, fine, but it's not sustainable to do it in the long run, right? You see, look at Open. I mean, it was the talk of the town, last week or so. This week at the start of this week, at the early start of the week, but then right now it completely died off, right? Because it's just not sustainable to have 1.8 billion shares being traded every single day. It's not. So pullbacks like this means the people are taking profits, right? That's very normal. Okay, but because of this move over here, it also ignited, right, the meme movers, right? It also ignited the meme movers. Okay, so like G Pro, Krispy Kreme, like KSS, right? And because of that, a lot of the tickers when I talk about, you don't really see them continue that much in terms of continuation throughout the rest of the day. And you see, these are things that you probably wouldn't know about unless you guys have actually traded inside the meme market before. Those of you guys who are back in 2020, you probably know about how meme tickers affects the market, right? But if you started after that, then this is probably something that's new to you. But you see, it's very important too, because you gotta understand, all right, meme tickers moving the market today. Okay, you know what? Let me just relax for a bit, right? Let me just focus on let me just focus on the meme tickers for now. And then if let's say the meme tickers dies off on open, which is exactly what I wanted, I say this on open, right? I said I hope that the meme tickers dies off so we can focus on something else. And we did. Right? I think we didn't touch any meme plays at all in the morning. Right? I mean on market open. Right. So this over here is where experience counts. And you now that you guys experienced this today, right, this goes into your books, right? So next time whenever meme runs again, all right, when meme tickers run, they take a lot of volume of the market, they take a lot of momentum for the market. So things are a lot slower than it used to be. Does it mean that you cannot be profitable? No, it's not. Right? There's no excuse to not be profitable because you're not supposed to be you're not supposed to be a profitable trader just because the market's hot, right? You're supposed to try to be one regardless of the market conditions, right? It might be a little bit messy for the past few days, but we still have our moves, right? Nothing too crazy, but we still have our moves. You know what I mean? So that's still at the end of the day, that's your main goal, right? Your main goal as a trader isn't to be trading every single thing that moves. Did I trade AGH just now? No. I was already done for the day. I want to take things a little bit slower today because the meme tickers is kind of dying off. So the market is trying to digest the fact that the meme tickers are done, right? And that's why, we didn't really get any of that crazy moves that we talk about, today. Right? Again, this is whatever I said during the morning session I did for you guys, isn't it? Right? I said even if the meme tickers dies off in the morning, right? It will take 1 or 2 days for the market to actually digest this, or maybe even a week to digest this before we go back to normal. Because maybe tomorrow new meme place comes out. We don't know. But it's definitely not going to swoosh within the day itself. And you guys can clearly see this is exactly what's happening right now. Right? The meme plays are not moving throughout the rest of the day, right? But we're not getting any sort of momentum moves on high volume tickers like AMOD or maybe even CLSD. Right? Sure, we get some basic scalps here and there, but nothing too crazy. Right? Nothing too crazy. Okay? So that's that, right? Very important for you guys to kind of understand the market and not just focus purely on technical analysis because and I think understanding the market comes first, right? And then after that, you guys can focus on your technical analysis. Not you just be, performing it on the wrong stuff. All right, so meme plays were taking over at the start. Okay, so that's what we're going to focus on, right? Simple stuff over here, 210, stop loss on the 190. I've explained to you guys why this is my setup, okay? And you guys can clearly see it was my 5-minute 200 EMA trend. Now look, over here, right, we got a nice move to 270, right? Price went all the way down. And look at this. The trend still holds. Now, if you guys are looking for re-entries over here and you guys understand how this thing works, right? Maybe you guys have taken the profits and got out the rest of the shares on the 220, you could potentially take your entries over here at $2, right? And have your stop loss underneath this 190, 195, 190, right? And I mean, it's not big of a bounce, but you still get something, right? Because this is my current trend. It's still holding intact. You see what I mean? Right? There's still that bounce factor to it. It's not much. Okay, but you see, this is what you're supposed to actually trade. You're not supposed to be like, oh, I'm adding over here. Let me look for a 500% move from my ad. No, it's not. That's not how trading works. Right? Sure, if it holds onto this, sure. But I think the meme plays are getting too oversaturated. Right? Again, this is just how it always is. Remember, it's not 2020 anymore when you have unlimited amount of volume where people are sitting at home trading non-stop. Right? People are out. So it's a little bit different. And plus, all these tickers are very, very high in float. So it takes a lot of momentum to sustain, right? Which is not sustainable. Okay, so once they die off, right, I think it was a very clear-cut situation on what to focus on. Now, PRRZ continued its strength, right? I think for those of you guys who overnighted this, right, I told you guys that 150, 160 has to hold. To be honest, we never really lost 160 throughout the rest of today, right? Look at that. Until over here, but this thing still went to 245. Okay, over here we have a morning move. All right, now when we consider that the meme plays are dying, what did I say? If meme plays die, then we can focus on the normal place, right? So that's why over here, once the meme play dies off, all right, I told you guys for entries over here at 2.1, stop loss on the 180, looking for 225 and more. Okay, so over here we had a very nice pullback, right? Never really broke down. Super nice candle, weekly review up over here. EMAs were curling up, both EMAs were crossing over this 200 EMA, right? Price was literally fucking bouncing off view up over here. So, this was a pretty brain dead entry, right? 2.1 down to $2, play around dips, as I mentioned. Okay, stop loss is under 180. Why? Because that is my 200 EMA. That's where the price is bouncing off from. That's my current structure support. Okay, again, I could set my stops at 160, right? Maybe price goes down all the way to here and bounces off. It could. Okay, but the thing is, I need to have a plan whenever I enter a trade, and that plan has to make sense, right? Look at this. Price bounced off here is basing above, right? 200 EMA is always my final trend line. It makes sense for me to put it underneath the 200 EMA. So my risk isn't as wide, okay, which means I can size it bigger. All right, I could have my stops at 160. That's fine too, right? But this is where I'm telling you guys that there is no such thing as one plan fits all, right? You gotta have a plan when you enter a trade and stick to it. Respect it. That's it. Okay, you don't have a plan, you don't go in. All right. So over here, we wrote the 21 EMA trend lines, price move up as the meme plays continue to die off. All right, and also at this point of time, AMO is also going down as well. I don't think there was any other momentum tickers other than CSLD, right? Sorry, CLSD, but CLSD was also going down, right? So PRRZ had that momentum volume, right? And price squeeze all the way to 245. Okay. Obviously this ticker is running multiple days already, right? There's not a whole lot of catalysts over here to support this move, right? There was one catalyst yesterday, but it wasn't anything big. It was preclinical. It wasn't even phase one. And even phase one isn't that impressive, right? But this is still a very nice trade. Okay, this is still a very nice trade over here, and yeah, I think once one structure broke down, we closed off the rest of our position, right? Keep it out green, and when we lost this 200 EMA, 193, keep it out green, and then we move on to something else. Now, when this thing started breaking down, okay, when this thing starts breaking down, then I told you guys to watch for AMOT. Now, look, AMOT, there's many different ways you guys can play this. All right, you could over here, right? Wait, take this downtrend breakout. Okay. You could over here take this downtrend breakout of 183 or 180. Have your stops underneath the swing low of the day, right? Or wait for the breakout confirmation. Now, if you look at how AMOT is, 1 second. If you look at how AMOT was over here in the morning, there was plenty of rejections happening at the 205 level, right? It was plenty of rejections happening at the 205 level. Okay, look at this. All right. So this is a very clear-cut setup. Okay, for those of you guys who do not know how to take dips, right? Don't understand how to play dips. Taking breakout plays, very straightforward. Okay, you don't need to think too much about it. All right, wait for the price to break through, give you confirmation. Okay, this is the breakout candle over here. You add on the next candle, have your stop loss on 205. There you go. You get a squeeze move over here. Now, but that's one way you can play, right? Wait for the key structure breakout. Obviously, there's no guarantee that this is going to break out over here. So if you were to take the dips, right, your first target is going to be 205, $2, because that's where the rejections are likely to happen, right? You cannot assume that a breakout is going to happen just because it looks like it's going to break out, right? It only is a breakout after it breaks out. That's it, right? Do not anticipate the price action. Now, over here for AMOT, okay, we do have a couple of gaps. Now, this is the second way you guys can play this. Right, one over here is that now look, there's a very big gap over here. We labeled this at 169. Okay. Now if you look at what happened in the morning, price actually hit that gap, right? Consolidated over here and broke through this had a nice little base forming, and then volume came in, and then obviously went to downtrend breakout over here. So what your potential dip entries could be would be to take your entries of 180, have your stop loss on the 169, 168, right? And your first level is going to be 195, $2, 205. And obviously, when you see this move over here to 194, VWAP is always a huge level of resistance. You can trim some profits over here. But then when you see the next candle do this, right? When you see the next candle do this, okay? I mean, for sure, right? This is such a strong breakout. 205 is key. Okay, there's no need for you guys to be like, oh, let me sell everything. Because if we don't lose 205, where all these shorts over here are going to be underwater. They have to cover the position, and that's why you guys squeeze move on this. All right, we probably could have gone higher. But I think one of the important things to kind of note is that, again, the meme plays are down. The market is probably digesting the fact that the meme plays are down. Right? There is nothing else. That's just how it is. Okay. It was a nice move, but no continuation. Like most of the stuff are today, I think. Right. It was a nice down. You see over here, it was also a very nice downtrend breakout move from 51 to 61. Right, but there's no continuation. It's not breaking down, but there is no continuation. All right. It might do a continuation move like what Zeus did yesterday, I'm saying, but this is what it is. Okay, yeah. All right. So now during the midday, same thing, right? Price went underneath this section over here, 169. Right? We consolidated on this, and then price reclaim it with a very nice candle, right? And then we started grinding upwards over here, created a new trend. Okay, and I think I want to show you guys this 10-minute as well. We had a pretty nice base on the 50 EMA bounce as well. Right, very nice structure over here. See that? On the 10-minute structure, very nice. All right. So for me, it's like, okay, you know what? Price is grabbed liquidity underneath the 169 key level, right? Over here in the morning, this thing had this and went all the way up, right? With this amount of volume that we have today, there's a high chance that we might see a power hour squeeze like what we usually do see, but the chances are definitely a lot lower today because I mean watered down today because of the meme plays not going, the market slowly digesting what's happening over here. Okay, yeah, so pretty straightforward day. Nothing much to trade. Not like there was any option to be honest. Uh, so yeah, I mean it's pretty clear. I'm very happy with the execution for the trades today. I think having that hate space, telling you guys meme plays needs to die. Right, I was very patient and open, making sure that we're not going to get caught up in the meme bullshit. And then once we get confirmation that the memes are dying, especially for Krispy Kreme and also GoPro, then that was where we can have more conviction onto the normal plays, the ones that we usually trade. And yeah. Okay, all right. Let's get some questions in. Curious to know what you want to UD sell, please, especially what confirmation. I think I just showed you, right? 3 p.m. I just want to see whether this thing would break down before 3. That's all. But this candle over here just gave me confirmation. All right. This candle over here for AMOT, this one. This one gave me the confirmation over here. I mean, sorry, this one. Yeah, this one. At 249. This one gave me the confirmation. So yeah. So I waited for the pullback to 180, right? Then yeah, it wasn't much. Again, I wanted the EOD squeeze, but I think the volume is pretty lacking because of how the market is. Hold on, let me ask 1 second. Yo, wholesome, how are you red on AMOT? How are you red on AMOT? I don't understand. How are you minus $100? That's crazy. No, AMOT's not a meme play. Guys, I mean, I'm no longer in this. I think the moment we lost, right? We had some nice move to 202 from 180. Okay. And my rule of thumb is whenever you're green on the trade, you make sure to keep it green if worst case break even. How are you rate $100? What did you do? There was some news that M&Q had risen after the market closed. M&Q is futures, so they still trade when the market's closed. Right? It's like let me look, SPY is still moving. All right, so it doesn't matter. Okay, M&Q is futures. It's nothing to do with stocks. I'm not in AMON anymore, guys. It never squeezed, and after hours broke down and lost. I mean, there's no reason to stay in this anymore. But guys, my rule of thumb, I did tell you guys over two might have squeeze. We did squeeze a 202. It wasn't anything big. Okay, but you still take your profits and raise your stops. I mean, you should at least know how to manage your own trades like this, right? I said this many times before. If you're green on a trade, especially after hitting targets, and you don't keep it green, it's the same thing as giving back your salary to your company that just paid you for your work. That's dumb. Yeah, I mean, if you enter wrong, then it is what it is. You can't chase it. No, yeah, no, no, wholesome. Please don't chase the move. All right, no one's telling you to chase the move. Okay, my entries are green in color. All right, nothing complicated. This is not a buy entry. I'm telling you guys that this is the update. I'm not telling you guys to buy over two as well. For those of you guys who are in over here, we can wait for this. If you add this over here, right, then nothing's gonna happen. Right, you pretty much added the top. But this is not a buy alert. It's not. No, why? Why didn't you take profits you ended at 180, you didn't take it 2? Why? Okay, so RT, what was your plan? What were you looking for? You see, you guys are inside a trade, right? I want to understand your thought process. Okay. Yeah, what is your expectations over here? What are you looking for? What are you exactly looking for over here when you enter this trade? I mean, it's not like I did not tell you guys that I wasn't trimming. All right. What are you exactly looking for over here? You want this to go to like $5? Then you start taking profits. So that means that every single trade that we take, they don't move like that. You're gonna just take a loss all the time when after we hit initial targets. That's insane. And first level is always gonna be VWAP, always. If you're underneath that, which is around 198. What you could have done is, take 70% out at $2 and then leave 30% to see if it continues squeezing. If it doesn't, at least you end the trade green, not red. I think that's beats being red any single time. No, but why? You can't even clear 205. You want to look for 260? That's insane. If you trim 10%, then I mean that's just whatever, right? But for me, I gave you guys my guideline. I did say before I always like to trim 50% first, unless of course the market is feeling good, then I would down to like 30%. 10% is nah. I'll never do 10%. I don't know what you're looking for. Yeah, you're looking for that squeeze, right? I'm also looking for that squeeze. I'm also looking for that squeeze, but it's not guaranteed. You have to understand it's not guaranteed. I also want the squeeze move, but it's not guaranteed. Especially so when I just told you guys in the morning that market might be a little bit slow today, even after the meme dies off, because the market needs time to digest that this is done, right? Let's reorientate, let's recalibrate to to see what is actually to see what we can actually move the market right now. No, I didn't. Oh man, wow. I know I didn't put this in my watch list. I didn't look at ABVX at all. Right. So yeah, that was a crazy trade from here. 90% is a little bit too much, right? I would never trim 90%. I think that's maximum for me on the first trim spots, 70%. Right? 90% is a little bit too much. But hey, look, guys, if 90% works for you, right? If you are able to stay profitable with 90%, please stick to that. I keep saying, whatever, if something isn't broken, please don't change it. All right, just if you're profitable doing that, stick to that. Nothing's really happening over here. It's pretty slow. I mean, we did get a nice pop to like 190 and stuff, but pretty slow. You guys can cut it if you guys want. Nothing much happening over here. No, it's not much volume. I'm really looking at this 4 hour trend. I mean, we did make new highs today, but again, it's not much volume on this, so I think we can just close it off if you guys want. It's very slow. We'll look for something else better tomorrow. No. AGH.